So I was with some customers recently, and I was describing some new kind of workflows, working with multiple tools to get stuff done when people are at home, across multiple offices or in the field. And the question was, what does it actually look like? Well, when you do this, and you've got multiple types of workers, maybe contractors, full-time employees, volunteers, all sorts, how does that actually work? What does it look like? So I thought I'd just describe in a sort of just a very informal way what that looks like with both our tool Invotra, but also blending that with an ecosystem of digital tools. So what I've got here is our particular platform. This is how we would start if we were creating a project. So the context here is that there's been some kind of workshop day with some leaders in, say, a social setting, public sector, and they're trying to solve a complex challenge such as housing. So you would go on either your mobile or desktop, log in to a system such as this, which is Invotra. This is an intranet and portal. You would then create a group to sort of put a place to actually start the conversation. In this case, we've created a private group, so you click create. We'd have sort of housing solutions, set a category about. Now we can set it to public, private, secret. In this case, private, so that only the people involved in the conversation can see what's in the conversation, but people can see that the conversation exists, so they know something's been done about it, but they just can't get in and see that unless they are appropriately placed, such as leaders. Before I go fully into that, I'll just show the idea of sort of finding people, because you want to know how to collaborate with people. So in this particular case, I know that I want to work with Neve. So I'd go to her profile there, and I'd see that that's her mobile, that's her location, etc. I know all that already, but the key thing I want to see is, she is best suited to work in her golden hours between 9 and 11 a.m. when she doesn't have the children. Now, she is mobile with a car, so I could meet her in the city, but she actually prefers to have sort of telephone conversations rather than lengthy text discussions. I already know that her organizational skills are sort of as a strategic thinker. I didn't know she was, also involved in, another private conversation here, or that her LinkedIn was here, or that, here's some of her interests to sort of just get the ball rolling early, first thing in the morning. Let's just sort of to have a catch up. Like, I saw you're interested in sailing and so forth. So that's all really useful to just sort of getting connected with someone when you're not in the same office as them. You can't tap them on the shoulder. You can't have a conversation in the canteen as easily. So from there, let's go back to this group that we were creating. So I've created this group. We've added we'll add some members in here. We've got Hazel from HR. We've got Neve and myself. And I kick it off by posting a link to a particular tool I found in the UK that's being used to solve housing issues, and I've denoted that as just a note. People can click in there and write a comment on it so that they can see that. But actually, this is really more of what I call an information radiator than a full-on chat stream. So you want to put your sort of updates on the project here, but you wouldn't want to have a full-blown conversation necessarily here. You might go to something like a Slack channel or Microsoft Teams or Skype for Business or something like that, or WhatsApp even. Now you need to pick the features to suit your requirements, but in this case I've opened a Slack channel. I might start typing in here. I know that the golden hours, we would agree at the meeting, okay, everyone's going to use Slack. Has everyone got it? They got it on their phones. Okay, let's go. Let's start the group. Let's have a chat between 9 and 11 in the morning. Let's have a sort of an open window where people are online talking to each other. Right. So I saw that. I saw that resource. It looks really interesting. Should we have a call about that specifically, etc. So you do have some conversation, and then you sort of might agree to have a meeting. So then you need a calendar tool. So you might have tools such as Microsoft Outlook, or in this case Google Calendars. So decide on next steps, add a guest here such as Neve, add a Hangout video call, and on the video call you might set this. Those notifications go out. People accept or don't accept. You might message them and say, hey, did you see the meeting? Have you accepted? And then you would have the video call. You might share screens to make sure that you're both literally on the same page. And then at the end of the video call, you might decide on something, and you might go back to the group, and you might post something that's sort of a decision of some kind. So we've made a decision that we're going to move forwards with these bits of work. How are we going to keep track of that? And so that's perhaps the next challenge, which is how do you actually create units of work in a task management system that are going to get done, like a get done list. And so let's just go to something like Trello. Now you might have Trello or Jira or something like that, but you get a task management, project management system, and you would create a list of work. This has been set up in a sort of Kanban, Agile forms. You've got a backlog, current sprint, and then completed, and you'd move these tasks around as they're done or not done. This is good for teams of sort of 4, 5, 6. If you want to go to teams of 40 on a single pipeline of work, then you would probably go to something like Jira or something a bit more sophisticated. So then let's go back here, and so you've got some work done, but you need to start creating some artifacts. So you might create something in Google Docs or Office 365, and you'd create a document. Now again, they've got pluses and minuses. Google is great at doing real-time instant collaboration. So you create this document, you start typing, other people could see what you're typing at the same time, no matter where they are in the world, and you could collaborate on that. And you could put a link to that here, like I've done here. I've started this Google Doc. Now that's fine if you're using Google Apps. You might find that you want to create a doc. We do have document editing inside this product here. So you can actually create a document, and from there, the key about this is that it allows you to set just the people that were in that conversation, that private conversation, to be able to view this. So it's a quick way to do a one-to-one matching of those people to one document that's securely located. And as we support very secure customers like government departments, we're pretty careful about making sure those documents are kept secure for you. So then the next thing is you might have a challenge. So if we just go back here, so we've got a resourcing challenge here. Hazel's saying her team is away. That came up on the chat system, but she wanted to make a note of that in this information radiator, as it were. And so I see that, and I say, okay, I wasn't on the chat at that time, but I can definitely help you out with this. Why don't I handle some of this work? And Hazel goes, great. You know what? I'm going to send a message. So you might go to the message wall here. This is another tool we offer. And Hazel has said, thanks, Lindsay, for sorting some of this work out while my team was away. And I would just like that. And that's a great way of showing appreciation and really sort of building those bonds that are lost often if you're outside the office or separated from others. And this way you can show recognition and, importantly, make sure people feel valued rather than isolated at home. So that's sort of quite a critical part of working remotely. So what is left to think about? Well, at the end of this sort of discovery phase, initial project, we might want to build something to just as an initial sort of speed up of the process. So you might have what am I doing here? Let's go back to the message wall. Let's close this down. So let's go back into the group here, and we can see that I have created a web form. I said, okay, there's a lot of initial applicants. We need to just streamline that process. I created a web form here that you can set. The frontline workers can just do a quick triage. They can enter some details. Okay, Joe Blog, he's homeless. He's at risk of homelessness, and it's conditional. So they can be in the field doing this on their mobile even or tablet. They can say, okay, has children, etc. That's all good. Let's just submit that. go back to the form. Let's see what that looks like when you're creating it. So you've created some fields here, name, category, either you want description or children. Then you can create the conditional component where you say, okay, if it has category at risk of homeless, then show the checkbox whether they have children. If it's just already homeless, then put a full description instead. And then you can see the results here. And these results can be limited to just the specific people that you want to be able to view them. So you can see here there's an entry from me, and I'm the frontline worker, and I've submitted a name of someone, and these can be triaged like this, or they can be downloaded as a spreadsheet, and then you can then export that and integrate that with any other tools you're using. So it's great to be able to sort of work backwards and forwards across multiple tools in an ecosystem. So that's given you a flavor of how to do an agile type workflow in a dynamic, flexible environment. But no matter how flexible you are or how sort of traditional you are, there are elements here that you might want to cherry pick to make work for you. These are my contact details. If you're interested in finding out more about our particular product, or how to just generally make things work more streamlined and more efficient, save money, be more productive in your organization, then feel free to contact me.